Okay, we're in volume 4. It's the one that has David and Goliath in the Bible story by Arthur S Maxwell. Let me get it straight. We're in part 2, story 7, and you understand these books are 70 years old. Alright, part 2, story 7, sitting with the Lord. Years went by. David's fine new home was finished. The shepherd boy was now living in a palace. But he wasn't completely happy. Something troubled him. One day he told Nathaniel, Nathan, okay. One day he told Nathan, the prophet, what was on his mind. See now, he said to him, I dwell in the house of cedar, but the ark of God dwells within curtains. He felt that God should have a house far more beautiful than his own, even though he was the king. That night God spake to Nathan and told him how pleased he was that David had two heads. This beautiful thought. He gave Nathan a special message to David with a prophet, which the prophet passed unto him the next day. It says Nathan, but it's sometimes Nathaniel, but it's either or. But I think it's Nathaniel in the book or um in the original. But let me get back to the story because okay, and start with this King James. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, I took thee from the sheepcote, so it says sheepcote, from following the sheep to the ruler over my people, over Israel. And I was with thee wheresoever thou wentest, and have cut off all thine enemies out of thy sight, and have made thee a great name, like the name of great men that are on the earth. I mean, it's got to pause. And when thy days are full, and thou shalt sleep with thy fathers, I will set up thy seed after thee. And then a pause again. And I will establish his kingdom, and he shall build a house for my name, and I will establish the throne of his kingdom forever. And then another pause. And thine house and thy kingdom shall be established forever before thee. Thy throne shall be established forever. As Nathan told David what God had said unto him, the king was deeply moved. At once he went in and sat before the Lord, probably in the tabernacle where he had put the ark. Here he bowed humbly before God and thanked him for all his kindness. His prayer is one of the sweetest of all in the Bible. And then I guess it's got the prayer, condensed version of the prayer. Oh, who am I, O God? What is my house that thou hast brought me hitherto? And what can David say more unto thee? For thou, Lord God, knowest thy servant, whether thou art great, wherefore thou art great, O God, O Lord God, for there is none like thee, neither is there any God beside thee. And then it's got a picture of David sitting and talking. Here's the picture. And it kind of looked at it again. Boy, a tent. And then we go back to the story. And now, O God, the word that thou hast spoken concerning thy servant, and concerning his house, establish it forever, and do as thou hast said. And let thy name be magnified forever. Therefore now let it please thee to bless the house of thy servant, that it may continue forever before thee. For thou, O God, O Lord God, hast spoken it, and with thy blessing let the house of thy servant be blessed forever. So David sat before the Lord and talked with him as a friend to friend. He did not know, of course, how God planned to fulfill his wonderful promise. He could have not seen the future, or how it would be through Jesus Christ that his house, his name, and his kingdom would be established forever. He simply trusts God to keep his promise in his own way and in his own good time. How lovely to talk to God like this. You and I can do it too. Let us go and sit before the Lord somewhere just by ourselves and tell God all that is in our hearts. If we love him as David did, and are humble and reverent as David was, he will establish our house forever too. For the promise God made to David that day in the long ago is for all his children now and always. And then of course it has an updated picture of them in some girls in 1950 dress. In 1950 dress. And one reading the book. And you also got to think, 1950 is about the when they started with the TV. So most people were still reading books and listening to the radio, and that was their and reading books with listening to the radio and reading books with their entertainment. Okay, well that was part 2, story 7, and like always, take the break, and then we'll go to the next story. Let me get my health, and I'll see you in a bit.